Kris Grafton is a wife of Dwight Grafton, who works at our college also. She's a mother of 2 children. She's the Dean of Women at Howells Anderson College. She's been the head nurse at Howells Anderson College for many, many years. She's a sincere Christian who always makes whoever she's around feel better. This is one reason she'll be speaking today, qualified on the subject, first aid for the spirit. Kris?
Ladies, I have a terrible disease today. White's not my color. And they don't make ivory in nurses' uniforms. So if you can notice the dark circles under my eyes, they do stand out very much when I wear my white. One day when after I'd gotten off work and had gone to the mall in my uniform, and as I was walking down the hallway at the mall, this little boy came up to me and went, "Ma'am, are you a nurse?" I said, "Yes, I am. How did you know?" And he so proudly said, "Because you have white shoes." And for 22 years, I have had the privilege of walking the road with sick people. And it's been a very interesting road. There are days when I think the whole world is sick. And I take care of sick people all day, and then I go home maybe to sick children, and up all night with sick children, and I go back to work to sick children. I think the whole world is sick. And in America today, we're very concerned about our bodies. We want to have healthy bodies. Now, I want Mrs. Evans to have the healthiest body in the whole world. So she needs to do everything there is to have a healthy body. But we don't eat fat. We don't eat cholesterol. We don't eat salt. We eat high fiber, if you can tolerate it. And we exercise, we brush our teeth, we floss our teeth, we get our eyes checked. We do all those, sometimes those yearly checkups that we don't even like because they're important. And we get checked up, and then you check your children up. And you get all their checkups, and you feel so overdosed on checkups. Now, you don't have to worry about your husband because they don't believe in doctors. They don't go to doctors, and they don't get checkups. So you only have to think of yourself and your children in this hectic schedule of checkups. And yet, there's something even more important than our healthy bodies or our sick bodies, and that's our spirit. How many of you have a first aid kit in your home? You have well, it might not be a big black medical bag, but you have that box or someplace where you throw all the leftovers. You know, leftover cough syrup, the thermometer if you can find it. How many of you have a place like that? And when you hear that cough during the night, you get up and you run to that first aid kit, and Dr. Mom takes the cure to that little room where her loved one is, and she wants to have a healthy person. My mom's cure was cod liver oil. Do you know I hate fish to this day? And if you were well, you only got 1 spoon full of cod liver oil. If you were sick, you got 2. We were the wellest kids there ever were. And I always drank milk after cod liver oil. I really think that was a wrong thing to do. I thought that would make it go down easier, but I don't know about that. And yet, here we are with our healthy bodies. They're checked up and checked over, and we have sick spirits. Depressed spirits, lonely spirits, bitter spirits, fearful spirits, and what do? Stay sick. What we need to do is run to our first aid kit for our spirit and get help right away when we see the first sign of a festering, sick spirit. One day, when my little Ruthie, she's 7 now, but when Ruthie was 4 years old, we were going into the college one day, and out came a crew of cheerleaders, and they had their beautiful uniforms on and their pom-poms, and yes, ma'am. And she loves ponytails that bob as you run. And the cheerleaders were running out, and I noticed them but didn't think much, and all of a sudden I felt a, "Mommy, Mommy." And I said, "What, Ruthie?" And she said, "Mommy, do you know what I want to be when I grow up? I'm thinking, well, she wants to be a mommy already, a teacher, and a missionary. Well, no, Ruthie, I don't know what else you want to be when you grow up. And she said, when I grow up, Mommy, I want to be a cheerleader. And I laughed, tried not to let her see me laugh just like you did. And I thought, isn't that sweet? I said, yes, Ruthie, someday you'll be a cheerleader for someone. Then I wondered what kind of cheerleader lives in her home. I wonder what kind of cheerleader she's going to watch so she can be just like that cheerleader someday. And I got pretty miserable because I think Grumpy comes to our house some days. I don't just think, I know it. And I wondered, do they think not a cheerleader lives here, but a grumpy lady lives here? And my spirit gets sick some days. And I get tired. And I come home tired and I think, okay, kids, you've been there. Just shut up and just read a book. Do something, be real quiet. I want to be a cheerleader when I grow up someday. So does your spirit bring cheer to your home? Or are you convicted like I was that my spirit sometimes isn't what it should be? And so, when I feel signs of a sick spirit, then I have to run to my first aid kit. Turn in your Bibles with me to Proverbs 18:14. Proverbs 18:14 says, the spirit of a man will sustain his infirmity, but a wounded spirit who can bear? Now, let's put our names in there. I'm going to say the spirit of Kris will sustain my infirmity, and you put your name in there, and let's read that verse together. The spirit of Kris will sustain my infirmity. I didn't hear your names. Let's read it together. You say your name. The spirit of Kris will sustain my infirmity. Now, I don't know what your infirmity is today. You know that. It might be cancer. It might be physical pain. It might be crippling arthritis. It might be a wayward daughter that's pregnant right now at home that couldn't come to Spectacular, that you're heartbroken over. I don't know what your infirmity is, your heartache, whatever it is that you have in your life right now that's your infirmity, but you're still, no matter what infirmity you have, you're still a cheerleader to somebody. Now, I think Mrs. Evans, she's an important cheerleader. And I think, oh, Mrs. Evans should do everything she can to have a healthy spirit, because she's important. And I think of Mrs. Hiles. Now, that's a person. She's got an important job to be a cheerleader to a tremendous preacher. But you know what? Mrs. Hiles can't come to your house preacher's wife over there in Iowa or down in Nebraska or up in Maine and be the cheerleader to your husband. She's got a full-time job, I promise you. But you need to be the cheerleader that you're supposed to be. And Mrs. Evans, when I'm grumpy lady at my house, she can't come over every time and fix my spirit so that I'm the cheerleader I'm supposed to be. So your spirit is so important because no matter what your infirmity, no matter what your heartache is, you are the cheerleader to somebody. Somebody calls you Mama. Somebody calls you Nana. That's our word at our house, Nana. And for some of you, you're the only cheerleader that they'll ever know. You're the most important cheerleader that they're ever going to hear because you're going to bring the cheer to them. There's a little boy that comes to my 5-year-old Sunday school class on Sunday, and he cries every time he comes in. And he'll say, Daddy, don't leave me. And I'll often have to go out and help him come into class. And he'll cry the first few minutes, and I'll say, how are you doing? And he'll say, Mommy and Daddy don't live together anymore. And I'll do everything I can not to cry, and he'll say, they fight all the time, so I live with my mommy sometime, and I live with my daddy. And I think his cheerleader's gone. She got a sick spirit one day. She didn't have a first aid kit ready for her spirit. She might have gotten all the checkups she needed to get to have a healthy body. But she quit being a cheerleader because her spirit got sick. And so for 1 hour a week, I get to be his cheerleader. So I'm important to that little boy, and you are important to somebody, because for someone you will be the only cheerleader they may ever have or ever know. So now sit up straight. I'm going to open the black bag. And in it, the first thing, now, you'll have many things in your first aid kit for your spirit. Things that I won't even mention. And I'm going to just mention a few that I think are very, very important to your spirit and to mine. And the first thing is your Bible. And I don't understand this, because Miss Evans has said it for 18 years, that you can't do without it, but I don't think we believe it. And I don't know what it's going to take, and I feel sort of stupid. I'm thinking they're all going to think, yeah, there's the Bible again. Haven't we heard that in these 18 years? We sure have. It's basic life support. Boy, when somebody's not breathing, I know exactly the first thing I'm going to do, and when my spirit is sick, this is the first thing I'm going to do. Now, maybe you're not in the Bible. Maybe your infirmity is so heartbreaking to you. Maybe you're so weak you can't. Maybe you could get one verse. Maybe if you're so hurt you don't know which way to turn, and you just don't even know how to think, you could get Psalm 119, 165. Great peace have they which love thy law, and nothing shall offend them. And that's all maybe you'll just take that one verse and get a verse, and through this heartache and through your infirmity that you don't feel you can withstand, or you cannot even bear it any longer, you can be the cheerleader you're supposed to be, because you've gotten a verse. And it's taken you through your infirmity. And maybe your infirmity will not pass. We say sometimes this too shall pass. Maybe it's not going to pass. But you've got to have your basic life support, your Bible. The second thing in my first aid kit here is good, healthy music. Fill your first aid kit for your spirit full of good, healthy music. So Ephesians 5:19 says, speaking to yourselves, I love this because this says you can talk to yourself and you're not crazy. Speaking to yourselves in psalms and hymns and spiritual songs, singing and making melody in your heart to the Lord. Now, I like to whistle. I think making melody in your heart is whistling or humming, but you're not crazy. You can sing to yourself. You can talk. It doesn't matter if you can keep a tune or not, because here's what your spirit needs help. And you're driving down the road thinking about, I just don't know how I can take it. I don't know how I can take it. But if you're driving down the road singing, you're not thinking about how you can't take it. And your spirit is going to get stronger and healthier. I love in 1 Samuel 16, it says, when King Saul heard the music of the harp, the evil spirit departed, and Saul was well. And I think, how many times does music help heal your spirit? And see, what you put in your mind is going to be revealed in your spirit. You're telling us, everybody, when your spirit is sick, you're telling us what you've been putting in your mind. If you don't get your first aid kit and start getting some healing for it. Our father-in-law, my father-in-law, Dad Grafton, went to heaven in May of this year, and we flew to California, and it was a very hard time. It was a very hurting time. I had a very hurting heart and spirit at that time. But my family needed their cheerleader. And so we got a song. And that song was, I'll see you again. I'll see you again. I'll see you in heaven someday. We sang that song almost every hour. Our family would gather somewhere at the hospital bed. Just hours before he died, we sang that song to him. Oh, we cried. We were hurting. Our spirit was hurting. But we sang, and we sang and our spirit started healing. And I knew I needed to have a strong spirit to be the cheerleader my family needed. We went 2 hours early to the funeral home, and at the coffin, we stood there and sang, "I'll see you again." And we sang it, and you know what? I started to believe it. Now, I know I already did believe it, that he was going to be in heaven. He is. He was saved. But the more I sang, the more my little 7-year-old Ruthie would sing, "I'll see you again." We started to believe it, and our spirits started getting healed. And now, when someone sings that song in church, we all go, and Ruthie will go, "It's our song, Mommy. It's our song." So maybe you'll get "Great is thy faithfulness." Maybe you don't know how your daughter, when you get back home, is going to face this unborn child, or how you're going to face it. And maybe you'll take the song, "Great is thy faithfulness." You'll get a song and get it in your heart and sing it and talk to yourself until you finally believe it. And you know what? All of a sudden, you're going to find that your spirit is getting healing, and the cheerleady's back.
I thought I'd dress up for the occasion. Well, it looks like our little golf pro's not here, so time for me to give you a little my tips. Well, I was thinking about the man's golf bag. It is way too small. So I brought my golf bag here today. And if any of you have started studying all those words, it is so confusing. All these words, and they don't make sense. I just say put something in there, and of course it makes sense. So I'm going to show you a few of my items in my golf bag. Like, for instance, they have what's called in a man's golf bag a driver. And this is my item for a driver. Now, there was a man attached to this, but I couldn't carry him, 6-inch rule, so I just brought the steering wheel to represent him. So logically, this would make sense for a driver in a woman's golf bag. All right, and then sometimes you're stuck in situations where you're in a sand trap, they call, and they have this special club to get you out of the sand trap. But I just say, bring the shovel. I mean, good night. That's going to help you better. And you don't have to get confused, you know. What do I use? Duh, the shovel. And then there's the instances where you are in your golf ball goes in the water, and I don't know what they used to get out of that, but I just say take your oar and paddle out there if you're not a good swimmer, and if necessary, if you're doubtful of your swimming abilities, just bring your fishing pole and that'll help you out. That's what I say. And let's see what else I have in here. Oh yes, sometimes you hit your golf ball in a wooded area, and it can be a little tough to get that golf ball out of the woods. So what do? You just use that feminine power and chop your tree down, and then you'll be able to get that golf ball real easily. But if you're not real agile with the axe and maybe you miss it, just always bring your prosthetic along in case you chop that leg off by accident. So, let me show it to you. Hold on. There we go. So, That's always helpful to have in a woman's cough bag. And of course, don't forget your lipstick, because you always want to have your lips on. So that's all that I wanted to show you in my golf bag today, and I hope y'all have a good day. And I also wanted to introduce someone who's always got the lips and the mouth behind it, Miss Belinda Gaona.
All right, Bridget, you're fired. Come on, girls. We're going to sing for y'all. Because she asked us to sing, I didn't say I'm going to sing. Mrs. Scott asked us to sing one of her favorite songs called Prayer Warrior. You can see her in the grocery with her children, or in the city 9 to 5 each working day. She's a mother or a teacher or a woman all alone, but she's someone else entirely when she prays. She's a prayer warrior down on her knees, wrestling with power and principalities, standing in the gap for others, for her sisters and her brothers, reaching heaven with her heart. Prayer warrior. We don't see her many nights of intercession, or the tears she sheds with every whispered prayer. And we may not see the secret things hidden in her heart, but the eyes of God are watching her with care. She's a prayer warrior down on her knees, wrestling with power and principalities, standing in the gap for others, for her sisters and her brothers, reaching heaven with her heart. And we'll never fully know the debt we owe her, and we'll never know the evil we've been spared. Many nights she's crashed through Satan's strongholds, reaching heaven with her prayers. Her prayers. She's a prayer warrior down on her knees, wrestling with power and principalities, standing in the gap for others, for her sisters and her brothers, reaching heaven with her heart. She has touched the very heart of God. Prayer warrior. Prayer warrior. Prayer warrior. Prayer warrior. Prayer warrior. My topic tonight is a topic that is, thank you, they just want offenses off from the dorms. My topic tonight, just tell them not to break their, I'm fixing to break their dream because they're not getting any. My topic tonight is a topic that is a topic for every woman. And that is the topic of nerves, worried, depression. I deal with 500 women. That's just the ones that live on the property. There's another 100 to 200 that drive in, from the ages of 18 to 26 each day. And I have found that probably the most common problem that I counsel girls about is depression, worried about something, or they're upset about something going on in their life at that particular moment. And Ms. Scott, when she gave me this subject, and we had a meeting with all the speakers, she asked each speaker some of the things we were going to say. And I said, well, I'm going to tell the ladies what I was told when I went once to Brother Hiles concerning one of these things, and then the things I learned from Mrs. Evans. So I'm going to tell you a couple things that I learned. I have found that change is the #1 reason most women get depressed about something. Are you like me? I like everything the same every day. I want everybody in my life to have the same mood every day. When they don't, because I have the same mood every day. I'll ask my office girls, they'll tell you. Right, office girls? They're on the back pew back there. Don't I have the same spirit every day? Okay, their silence means yes. But I think everybody in my life should have the same spirit every day, the same mood every day. I want my husband to have the same mood every day. When he doesn't have the same mood, and something gets everything out of kilter, our schedule gets out of kilter, it makes me feel nervous, worried, depressed sometimes, depending on what I've done. I could be depressed too. But I want everything. Change scares women. Anytime something comes in your life that changes it. Now, in my life, years ago, almost 10 years ago, maybe now 11, I had a serious change happen in my life. And it was a time in my life when, wow, I mean, it was a major change, and it was a major heartache. And I went to Brother Hiles, and I said, Brother Hiles, I don't know what to do about this, and because I'm getting kind of down about this thing. And he said to me, he said, Belinda, I allowed him to call me that. He said, Belinda, is 75% of your life still the same? He said, do you have the same job? I said, yes, sir, because I said yes, sir, to him. And then he said, is your church the same? I said, yes, sir. He said, is your ministry the same? I said, yes, sir. He said, are your friends the same people you had before this tragedy struck your life? I said, yes, sir. So he said, about 1/4 of your life has changed, right? And I said, yes, sir. He said, can you live with the 75% and don't major on the 4th that's out of whack? I said, well, he said, because when you really look at it, only 1/4 of your life has changed dramatically. But you're letting it affect the other 75% of your life. And after I picked up my face, I walked outside and I said, you know what, God, Brother Howes is right. I need to major on the 75% of my life that is exactly the same. I tell the dorm girls all the time, no woman is happy 100% of the time. There's always 1/4 of your life when you are not happy. Now, right now, it may be you're not happy with your husband. Some of you are not happy with your children. Some of you are not happy with your weight. Some of you are not happy with your hairdo. Some of you are not happy with your fingernails. Some of you are not happy with your girlfriends. Some of you are not happy with the person that is seated next to you. There is no way. A woman lives on her feelings. So 75% of your time, you're out of whack. I mean, 1/4 of your time, you're out of whack. There's very few days when all your little ducks are in a row and you're quacking along really good. Most of the time, 1/4 of your ducks is out of line. Because you're a woman, you live on your feelings. They come and go, I feel sad. And I go through their life. Well, are you happy with your classes? Yes, ma'am. They answer me, yes, ma'am. Are you happy with your roommate? Oh, yes, ma'am, I like my roommate. Are you happy with your dorm floor? Yes, ma'am. Do you like your ministry? I love my ministry. I go, well, what's wrong? I don't know. I just don't feel. A woman is a feeler. We live on our feelings all the time. I don't feel like she likes me. We live on our feelings. And folks, I learned this long ago from Brother Mark Crockett. He preached one time in our sermon. He said, your feelings lie to you. So you don't live on your feelings. If you live on your feelings, you're living on something that's lying to you. Your feelings are telling you you're unhappy. Well, it may just be that you're a week before, a week after, or right smack dab in the middle. And folks, ain't no woman happy, so that gives you 1 week a month that you're actually happy. So folks, let me say this. You got to figure this out. If I'm only happy 1 week a month, you better catch me during that week, because I ain't going to be happy any other time. So you've got to figure out, if you only got 1 week of life to be happy, what are you going to do with the other 3? Shoot yourself every time it comes on 3 weeks I'm dead, and then I'm going to get revived on that 1 week. No, what you're going to do is you're not going to live on your feelings. And that why we get so depressed is because we major on the 4th. And we need to major on the 75% that's exactly the same every day. So when you get up tomorrow and you can't stand the lady that stayed up all night long talking in that motel room, then I want you to think of the 75% of the people who actually laid down and shut up for Jesus. And center on them. You don't need to center on the 4th of your life that's out of whack. I have found that when I'm out of whack, okay, because don't tell anybody, but I do have mood swings. The ladies, if I'm in a work mood, don't get between me and where I'm going, because I'll have to plow you down, because I'm one of those plower downers. Miss Evans always used to try to tell me, could you just slow down? Just slow down. Walk more slowly through the crowd. I'm like, no, I gotta go somewhere, I gotta go right now. Okay, I gotta go. Okay, I'm gonna have mood swings. So here's what I found out. When I feel depressed, there are 3 things that I do, okay? Number 1, look folks, when you're melancholic and you put on the rippling spring brook, trickling down the mountainside, and they're playing, ooh, that is not going to refresh your spirit. You're going to go slit your wrist. So what I do is, when I feel nervous, worried, depressed, sad, you know, the typical woman thing, when I feel that, I don't turn on the rippling brook, the calming harp, the soothing piano. I turn on good old. Are you over there, Miss Gilbert, anywhere? Where are you? Okay, I'm over the piano. I turn on something like this. We've got a great, big, wonderful God, okay? Something like that. Here we go. You going to get there? Okay, play it. Now, doesn't that make you go like this? Play a little faster, a little harder. I turn it up loud, because I'm deaf. And I play it loud and long. Just like that. I'll start bouncing. Okay, thank you. Now, you turn on that soothing stuff. And by the time you get done, you're so depressed. You're going, I don't know. That's why you keep crying, because you're feeding that. Okay, so your music's very important, folks. Some of you got to get out of the classics, get a little more honky-tonk? No, a little more exciting, a little more lifting of the music. That's the first thing. Some of you are killing yourself with your music. Now look, don't tell me you don't know when it's coming. You don't know when you feel that way. It's when you get out of bed and you're doing this. If you're looking through squinted eyes, there's a good chance that today is going to be one of those days. So what you want to do on those days is turn on good music. And I turn it on loudly. I don't just let it play ever so softly. Loudly forces me to listen, forces me to change. Number 2, my friends. When I am down, I don't get around all the depressed friends I've got. because we're all going to go jump off the bridge together. When I'm down, I want everybody to turn around, look down that aisle, see that girl sitting in the back on the white, wave June. Her name's Junebug. When I'm depressed or feel sad, I get around her because she's insane. She does funny things. She makes me laugh. She makes me feel happy. If you run around when you're sad with sad people, and you get with them and the two of you share your sadness, then you are double sad. No, I get around her and she'll go, "What are you depressed about?" Well, what's that got to do with anything? She fusses at me. Now, she's the only one who's allowed to fuss at me, other than Bob. That's my cute husband. He can fuss at me if he wants to, as long as he kisses me after he gets done. Okay, so she'll say to me, "What are you doing?" Now, every woman needs a friend who the two of you can counteract each other. So that when you're depressed, she's not, and when she is, you're not. You got to have a friend. And the third thing is, my friend, look at me, look up at me, look at me, look at me, look at me. The third thing is, what are you reading? What are you reading? When this tragedy happened in my life, I got a book from my brother. And I know he sent that book to help me. And I forget the name of that book, but it said something about 10 reasons why you shouldn't kill yourself. That wasn't what the book said, but it was something like that, about trying to help you to understand why God sent this into your life. No one can understand God. If I could understand God, he'd be as big as me. He'd be just a tiny little weeny-deeny God. My God is not a tiny weeny-deeny God. He's a big God. If I could understand him, my friend, you can read all the books you want to. You're not going to understand why things come in your life. That's God's plan for you. And as Mrs. Howes said, and that Brother Howes did, he just accepted it. God sees, God knows. There's no uh-oh surprises. You got to be kidding. I didn't see her there. How'd she get there? I didn't know that was going to happen to her. Gabriel, how'd that happen to her? He knows. So, what are you reading? I'm going to tell you one of the things that I read that brings me the most joy. This paper right here, when it comes to my office, everyone in the office is walking around like this. Because I have to wear my reading glasses. I can't see it, so I got it way out like this. I'm trying to look through and see what's everybody saying in here today. Oh, and then sometimes, this particular one, I picked it up. It was from Mrs. Hiles when I got it. I was trying to read all the points she said about the husbands and wives, because I just got married last December. I want to see which ones I should circle for Bob. Anyway, so I read this. This paper, look, folks, I can't go home with you and you get depressed. I can go, "Hey, chipper up, baby." I won't be with you. This will. Now, many of you got the Christian Womanhood paper. Some of you haven't yet. I'm going to tell you, you say, "What should I do about my..." And every woman has nerves, worried, and depressed. Don't act like your halo is drooping. Okay, so everyone has it. Your problem is what you're reading, what you're listening to, and who you're running around with. You need to read the Christian Womanhood paper. Now, I don't write for the Christian Womanhood paper necessarily because, every once in a while I might put an article in it, so I'm not really a regular article. I don't work for Christian Womanhood. I work for Hyles-Anderson College. I'm the Dean of Women. I don't work for Christian Womanhood. So I can tell you this is the best investment you can do with your money. Mrs. Evans had a tremendous burden that women have in their home, something to help them when they need it. Because we can't be with you all the time. You come here, you get rejuvenated, you got a shot in the arm, but you're going to get busted in the head when you walk through the front door. Take my word for it. And you're going to go home and you're going to be all these big plans, and it's something, just listen, something catastrophic will happen. And you'll walk in and you'll think, "I knew I shouldn't have made those decisions." Then you'll look at your Christian Womanhood paper. You'll get renewed in those decisions. It renews it every month. Now, since this is my time, and no one told me what I could say or do during this time, then I decided that every woman ought to have a subscription to this lovely paper in their possession. I can't sell you Miss Gilbert to come play the piano when you're down, unless you've got a lot of money. I can't, but you can go get a tape down there for that. I can't choose your friends. Certainly you've got enough sense to know if a woman's depressed or not and whether you should run around with her, okay? Look at her face, Is it? All right. That's how it's easy to tell. But I can help each of you get a Christian Womanhood paper. How many of you are smart enough to have this paper come to your home now, and you now have a subscription, Stand Tall and Straight? You now have a subscription to Christian Womanhood. Now, that's a lot of us already, all right? Sit down, all my friends. Now, how many of you under the sound of my voice said, if I had 15 bucks, I'd have a subscription to that paper? Stand up. If I had $15, don't be ashamed and say, every woman in the world ain't got no money. Stand on up. How many of you would say, if I had $15, I'd have a subscription to that paper? Stand up. Now, I want every woman in this room to look around you, because I'm going to tell you the best thing you can do to help your nerves, worry, and depression. That's help somebody else. These ladies standing around you need to have this paper in their home too. There's quite a few. There's probably 100, maybe 150 ladies standing. Now, here's what we're going to do. We're going to help these ladies. Now, stand on up if you need the paper. Don't go up and down like a yo-yo. Stand on up if you need the paper and you want it to come to your house. Stand on up. Don't be ashamed. This is a Christian meeting where nobody's laughing at you or thinking, oh, she's poor. No, we're all poor. If we got any money, we stole it. So stand on up. Okay, now, every woman, I want you to look around you. Some of the other girls that are seated, you could buy one subscription for one of these ladies. Some of you say, well, I don't have but $5, but I'd give $5 to somebody so they could have a subscription. Don't I have assistant pastors' wives who are going to help me? Come on up, ladies.
The cheerlady's doing her job because her spirit is healthy. The cheerlady's doing her job because her spirit is healthy. Look at Proverbs 18:14 again. Let's say it out aloud together. The spirit of Kris will sustain my infirmity. The third thing I have in my first aid kit is adhesive tape. I call it shut up tape. And I keep it real handy. And when my spirit gets sick and gripey and complaining, I use it. I try not to advertise how sick I really am. And see, what some of us would rather do is we'd rather get a song called I Love to Tell the Old Story over and over and over again. That's not the song you need to get. Sometimes you need to run to your first aid kit and shut up tape come right out and put right over your mouth. So you quit telling the old story of what a failure you are, how awful things are, because the more you hear it, it reinforces how bad you think you are, and your spirit is not getting healing. Your spirit is getting sicker. And then what is amazing to me is we would rather tell anybody our problems and advertise all our family sins to everybody, to anyone who will listen, rather than going to the very person who not only wants to listen, but has the power to do something about our problem, about our infirmity. See, our spirit's going to sustain our infirmity. And so if our spirit's not strong, we're not going to be able to sustain the infirmity we have, and then we won't be the cheerleader that only you can be to someone. So we've got the Bible in our first aid kit. We've got healthy music, lots of music. We have shut-up tape right there. Handy, at rolls of it. Keep stockpiles of it. You know, some of you stockpile toilet paper, stockpile adhesive tape. So we can be strong in spirit and have a healthy spirit, so we'll be the cheerleader that we're meant to be. Then, the last thing I have in my first aid kit. Healthy TV. Let's see if there is such a thing. Let's see how that helps my spirit. First of all, we'll look at the soap opera update. Now, I'm wanting to heal my spirit. I need to keep a healthy spirit, so I need to decide if this should be in my first aid kit for my spirit. Soap opera update. As the world turns, Craig and Samantha made love after he expressed his commitment to get a divorce from his wife. Well, that probably isn't what will help heal my spirit. Let's try General Hospital. You know him? You're laughing, girls. Don't laugh now. This tells on you. Felicia told Mac that she's pregnant, but unsure whether he's the father or not. I'm sorry, but the soap opera update is not going to help me keep a healthy, strong spirit. And it won't help you. And we won't be the cheerleader we're meant to be. Psalm 101, verse 3 says, I will set no wicked thing before mine eyes. So, I don't know. I'm going to have to think about this TV, whether or not it's healthy enough for my spirit. Let's look at the movie guide. Yes, movie guide, free. I don't even have to pay for this. Adult situations, language and violence and nudity. They list for me what my choices are. And so I could even choose those choices, but I don't think those choices fit in my first aid kit for my spirit. Or I could try some talk shows and learn all about abuse and incest and homosexuality, or mothers that let their own daughters have sex in their own home, why that's so right for them. I can't afford to have that in my first aid kit for my spirit. I can't afford to listen to OJ TV. I can't afford in my spirit to hear how people are murdered in detail and who did what and when and where. That hurts my spirit. And I'm not going to be the cheerleader I'm meant to be. When 7 years ago, before Ruthie was born, my husband decided without my vote that we weren't going to have a TV in our house. He wanted to protect my spirit. I really didn't appreciate his protection. But I said, oh, sure, well, whatever you think. And in my wicked mind, I thought, you're not telling me that I will never watch TV again. And now, 7 years later, I'm glad that he cared enough about my spirit to take the TV out. Now I'm saying, you're so wonderful. Because it's me to be the cheerleader I'm supposed to be. And when you're sick, physically sick, ladies, it's very easy to turn the TV on. It's just there. You don't feel like reading, you don't feel like singing, you don't feel like doing anything. It just entertains you. But it is hurting your spirit. It is causing you to have a sicker your body's already sick maybe, but it's causing your spirit to be sick. And there's no way that you can be the cheerleader you're supposed to be for your family, for your Sunday school class, for your bus route, for whatever. And we say to our children, don't eat junk food. Oh, don't eat that, that's junk food. And yet we turn the TV on and watch junk food videos, junk food TV. You can fill yourself full of that. Doesn't hurt you at all. It hurts you a lot more than that sugar hurts you. And you'll have a lot more health problems than you will taking junk food TV than you will sugar. Because your spirit's going to be hurt. See, you can't control, in Proverbs 18:14, it says, my spirit will sustain my infirmity. I can't control my infirmities. I can't control my hormones, my midlife crisis. You can't control your grown children. There's so many things you can't control. But you can control your spirit by having your first aid kit ready all the time. Now take out your Band-Aid. Yeah, I mean, of course, what else would a nurse have but a Band-Aid? How many of you already put it around your hangnail that you tore off earlier? Okay, you weren't supposed to. You were bad. Take out your Band-Aid. Now, if your Bible's open to Proverbs 18:14, that's where it should be. And open your Band-Aid. being good girls, doing exactly what you're told. Put your Band-Aid in your Bible. Stick it in your Bible. Yes, we're going to take those pages and put dirt in it, I guess. Miss Evans says you can have a dirty Bible, so I guess we could put a Band-Aid in it. Put a Band-Aid in it. Let's read that verse together again. The spirit of a man will sustain his infirmity. I can't hear you. The spirit of a man will sustain his infirmity. Let's put our names in it. Read it. The spirit of Kris will sustain my infirmity. Now you need to make a decision. I think you do. I think this is so important. I think there's some ladies here that they might decide. I'm sure in a group this size that there's some ladies here that are thinking about, I don't care if I'm a cheerleader anymore. Maybe you're thinking about saying, I'm tired of being a cheerleader. Let some Sunday school teacher 1 hour a week be his cheerleader. Your spirit is hurt. It's very sick and unhealthy right now, and on that Band-Aid, I want you to write a decision. Maybe your decision, whatever decision the Lord has spoken to you about. I have so many, my Band-Aid's so full, I'm starting on the back side. But what decision is the Lord speaking to your heart about? Maybe it's be a cheerleader. Mine, here's what I wrote on mine. I wrote, be a cheerleader, not grumpy lady. That was one thing I knew I really want to be and do. Maybe it'll be get a verse. Maybe your infirmity is so painful right now you don't know how you can take another step, but you can get a verse. Maybe it'll be get a song. Maybe it'll be no TV. Maybe you've not been as nice as I was and said, sure, honey, whatever you say. Maybe you're just fighting all over with it. Maybe you'll need to write no TV on your Band-Aid. Maybe it'll be no soap operas. Maybe it'll be I'm going to get a first aid kit for my spirit and have regular checkups on my spirit. I don't know what it will be, but somebody in here will make the difference. Mommy, do you know what I want to be when I grow up? No, what do you want to be? I want to be a cheerleader. Yes, someday you will be a cheerleader. And so are you.